Episode 7 of the Full Circle Show. Today's guest is very special. For the first time ever, he is sharing his past and what he's learned from it on a public platform. I'm just grateful that he wanted to come onto the show and share with us his story. Today's guest is Teddy Labissiere. Teddy is a millennial who has done the unthinkable, overcome his inherent self-entitlement, procrastination, and wandering ambitions to build a film and photography production house in the areas of events, corporate, and portraiture called Caravan Film Crews. He is a New Jersey native who turned down the alluring and luxurious Mafia life and ventures to relocate to Sacramento in 2008. Since then, he's worked with a number of marketing firms and agencies on projects featuring a variety of companies located in Silicon Valley and the San Francisco Bay Area, and some in Sacramento. Companies like Google, Microsoft, Airbnb, Stanford, the National Science Foundation, and more. Along with being a cryptocurrency enthusiast, Teddy has been creating cinematic storytelling videos as well as captivating photographs for a very wide variety of purposes. Make sure to go check out Teddy. All socials will be linked down in the show notes. This episode is super special because not only has Teddy taught me a lot about the filmmaking side of things, but he has also taught me about the business side of things. And, you know, he's always there just showing tough love and, you know, talking shit and, you know, motivating me to grow and learn. So without further ado, I can't wait for you guys to get into this.
Hey.
Okay, cool. We're good. All right, so welcome back to another episode of the Full Circle Show. This is going to be episode 7. We did back-to-back. Devin just left actually with Jeremy.
That's right.
Shout out Jeremy again for helping us out with Devin's episode.
Jay Boca.
Shout out Proxy.
Shout out Proxy.
And yeah, this one's exciting because you've been itching to get on this episode.
Yeah, you know, I've been like, I probably should have been on it like episode 1, 2, and 3, and 4. But it's all right. 7's cool.
It seems like you got a lot to say then.
No, I don't really have much to say.
You got a lot to talk about.
No, I don't.
No, but I'm excited that we're getting this done because I attribute a lot of what I've learned and a lot of the success that I've had to you.
No. Don't be fooled, everybody at home. Ulysses has done it on his own. I helped a little bit here and there.
No.
But it's all Ulysses, okay? Don't let him fool you. And don't let him say this bullshit right now. It's bullshit.
What a lot of people don't know is that when I first graduated like 2-3 years ago, I was looking for photography groups to join because I didn't want to fucking get a job.
For sure.
And I already knew I wanted to do photography.
For sure.
And I was like looking for groups and I stumbled upon your group and I was just writing the list down of like who I was going to DM, like, hey, I'm interested in joining, like I'll work for free or like whatever, right? The usual. Mm-hmm. And I never got to it. And the funny thing is that I ended up meeting you, I think like 2 months later.
Yeah.
Through Kitty. Shout out Kitty.
Shout out Kitty.
But again, this is not about me. This is about you.
It's not about me,
and,
bro.
And a big thing that I learned from you is not just obviously the filmmaking and the photography side, but the business side of things. I remember, and I still ask you to this day too. Sometimes it's when dealing with clients and pricing and just the whole business side of things.
For sure.
So let's talk about you and your business side of things. I mean, you're from Jersey. Yeah. You know, everyone's hustling over there.
Hustling.
Right.
Born hustlers.
So I guess what were some of like the earlier? Well, let's talk about the hustle. I guess from a young age. From your young age, when were you starting like to hustle or like really interested in like, I guess, having a business mindset on the streets or just in general?
You know, at an early age, when I was growing up, right? Uh-huh. So this is like, you know, after I was, you know, not really into toys and stuff, probably, you know, after I started getting into girls, you know, I was like starting to look at business, right? Mm-hmm. And I always kind of knew I wanted to do something business related, but back then, so this is like, you know, 99, 2000, 2001 and up, business wasn't something that people pursued. Mm-hmm. Let me clarify. There's 2 business things, okay? There's the sport that is business, buying, selling, sales, mm-hmm. you know, managing funds, hustling, right?
Yeah.
In the true sense. And then there's business for occupation, which is business degrees, you know, accounting, finance, marketing, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people really need to distinguish between the two. So when I was growing up, I knew I wanted to do business hustling, but the only way people communicated that were in business degree terms.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so nobody really knew like how to steer my ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody, parents, teachers, nobody knew how to really steer that, right? Because they would talk business degree thinking that that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to realize, like, oh, you guys just want me to go get a job. You know what I mean? I don't want a job. Like, I want to own my own business, right? And I want to start my own business. So the first, when I came to that realization, I was like maybe 16, 15, something like that. So that my first venture into something like that was multi-level marketing, which is like a lot of folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm 15 years old, 15-year-old Teddy, right? Still going to high school, still trying to get his dick wet, stuff like that, right? 15-year-old Teddy is waltzing into multi-level marketing meetings in North Jersey for this company called Quickstar, which is the online version of Amway, which Amway is massive,
It's
gigantic,
huge,
huge, right? Yo, let me tell you, to this day, we had the best motivational speakers slide through there slanging you Quickstar, bro. Oh my goodness. The sales acumen of these speakers, off the charts, man. The best I've ever heard till this day. I mean, phenomenal. And I learned I was at those meetings every single week, every Monday at 7 o'clock, and I think it was in Edison, New Jersey. I would be there. I'd hitch a ride with somebody, or somebody would drive up and pick me up and take me there because I didn't have a car at the time. And I would go to those meetings, and I didn't know it was bullshit. And it's like, yeah, you can make money. I'm not saying you can't make money in it, but anytime you have a system of business where you're not responsible for selling the product, you're more responsible for bringing people to the show. It's not a business. It's not. It's a money-making scheme. It's multi-level marketing, right? People can make money doing that still. It's not, it's not wrong. I mean, it's not like you can't make money doing it, but it's not a business.
Yeah.
They just call it a business, right? So when I kind of realized, like, this is like one of those kinds of things, like, I couldn't really articulate it at the time. I was like, man, it's not really what I want to do.
Yeah.
It was just like a vehicle for me to think about business. You know what I mean? And help me articulate about business and put concepts into formulas and terms that I could apply now, right? Man, I did everything, man. So at that time, I was working at a gas station in Bergenfield, New Jersey. Wake up. I got to be there at 5 to open, and then I worked until 5 in the evening when the next guy took over my shift. And so while I was there, I was like literally drawing all the circles for every position in the pyramid for the amount of money I wanted to make. So if I wanted to make $1.2 million a year, right, I literally drew every single circle, and I figured out how much money each person was bringing in so that the company could chip me off, 1.2 mil. And they're making like 10 when they chip you off your one. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm figuring out how much everybody's making and tallying it up with the whole nine, right? Like, I'm literally devouring the entire model of that whole business and whatnot. Not only that, but it was me, my boy Vinit, this dude Joe, this dude John. They were a few years older than me, and they were in the business. And I already knew John and Joe from school. They're the ones that introduced me to the whole thing. But we would all go out and go prospecting, right?
Yeah.
And whoever got the most contacts to invite to the meetings didn't pay for dinner.
Yeah.
Right? And every time, bro, that was me. At 15, I'm getting the most contacts, And what I kind of realized, like, a few months ago, recently in my adult years now, looking back, or even now when people try to bring multi-level marketing stuff to me, I see young guys that were my age back then, right? And and girls too, and they have a thirst for business and entrepreneurship, and they're trying to get it quenched from people who don't even know what any of that is, right? And so they get suckered into these systems that don't work for everybody anyway. They don't really work. And at the end of the day, you know, this person who is ambitious about being an entrepreneur can take that and then move on to another endeavor, right? And that endeavor can either be good for them or not so good. Because at the end of the day, we're playing with people's money, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm spending my time here to make money when I could have been making money doing something else. And then if you put a year or 2 years into it and you realize, man, it's all bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my parents told me and my aunts told me and all these people told me, but I didn't listen,
Yeah.
right? And these people told me that this was business, but I see that it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody might take that energy and do something dangerous with
Yeah.
it, right? And that's kind of where I got into how I got into what I was doing after that. So after that, I just, I got tired of wasting time, not really making much money. I got like a few little checks here and there. It was like nothing compared to the amount of time I'm spending into it. And
Tell us about the turning point or the realization where like, okay, fuck, this isn't what I think it is, and I'm definitely not gonna make any money here.
Word. So at 15, at 15 you're still young,
Yeah.
right? Like you're young in any of your teen years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're young, but 15 you're pretty young, right? You're just kind of breaking the barrier from being a freshman to being a sophomore.
Yeah.
Right. So as I turned 16, having been doing this for a year and some change, I realized that I needed to do something a little bit more direct. You know what I mean? And kids at my school were doing drugs. They were smoking weed and popping pills and snorting coke and stuff like that. And I went to an all-boys Catholic school, like private school. So, some of the kids I went to school with were very wealthy.
Yeah.
And there were other kids there who were making money off these kids doing all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I went to my boy Dave. First of all, I didn't do any drug at all. I just drank a little alcohol every now and then. You know what I mean? But I didn't smoke anything or pop any pills. Like drinking was the limit. That was where I was at. But I also made beats at the time, and everybody would be like, "Bro, if you just smoked, whoa, your beats would be so much crazier." Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I didn't know what weed really did to you because I never did it before.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. So then I saw people were making money off selling weed, and I was like, shit, man, I can make money off selling weed. I know everybody I know smokes. Everybody I kick it with, everybody I play ball with, they all smoke. You know what I mean? I can make money off selling weed. So my boy Dave, first I went to this dude named Smalley. He was like the drug guy, right? His name was Smalley, at the school, and everybody kind of knew him for that. I'm surprised the teachers didn't catch on to that. But I went to him, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to sell weed. Literally, that's what I said to him. He was like, what? Yeah, man, I'm trying to sell weed, but like I don't know really how to start.
Yeah.
So he said, all right, I'll tell you what. Here's 5 bags. Go sell this and bring me back $100, and then I'll give you some more.
Yeah.
And like 4 hours after school was over, I was like, yo, I got you $100. And what's it called? He gave me some more. So, and all I did was just call people I already knew smoked, right? And I was like, hey, I got some weed. And they're like, what? You got weed? I was like, yeah. You want to buy some? I got some I got some 20s, some dubs, right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, cool. Let me come check it out. So they came, checked it out. It was good. They bought it, and then that was it, After he gave me more, I was like, all right, I'm going to go down the list in my phone, like multi-level marketing. That's what they tell you to do. I just go down the list in my phone now, just calling everybody who I know smokes. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so I did that weekend. I probably did like maybe $300 or $400 that weekend. And then Monday is school. That was a Friday. Did $300 or $400 over the weekend. Monday school time, right? I go to the lunch table I normally sit at And I talked to Dave, and I'm like, yo, I got weed if you need it. He's like, you got weed? All these cats are like, they
Super surprised.
No, they were surprised because
Yeah.
they all do like hella,
Yeah,
hella shit,
for
right?
sure.
So, and I was never that guy to ever do that. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
you're selling weed? He's like, where'd you get this from? I said, Smalley. He said, you're selling weed for Smalley? I was like, yeah. I was like, man, fuck that. Give him back these fucking bags. So I gave him back the bags. He said, look, man, you got $150? I was like, yeah. He said, all right, let's get down on an ounce of weed, and I'll teach you how to sell this shit, like for real. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what he did, man. And then he broke down the whole weed game to me, and we sold a gang of stuff senior year up until I left for college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you ever thinking of like the consequences, or like was there anybody, I guess, any other dealers in your school, or I guess that maybe you may have known that maybe fucked up or got caught, and you were like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm from New Jersey. You know what I mean? Do I know people that got caught doing stuff? You're like, yeah, no, hella people that got caught doing stuff. A friend of mine had his house raided for 2 ounces of weed. You know what I mean? In Jersey, it's not like California. It's like the laws around weed are way stricter. You know. And this is 2004, something like that, right?
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, but, things have changed now. But back then, cops will chase you down for like a $10 sack. They'll run down, chase you down. You go to drug program, all that, right?
Yeah.
I think a felony was 2 ounces, So, like I would think about the consequences, but, growing up there, it's much different from California because everybody kind of understands, what to do to not get pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of like part of the culture. If you go back to the East Coast, especially the New York and New Jersey area, you'll find just a very different police community relationship, culture, the whole nine back there. It's very different, but. So I just kind of knew like what to do and what not to do. What I didn't know was that cops couldn't search you without your consent unless they have probable cause. So I got searched a lot of times. Just nobody found anything, and I didn't get a ticket. I got searched like 13 times my first year of driving, never even got a ticket, and then that's because they would just pull me over for nothing, and search me at all times.
Yeah.
They just never found anything.
What was your biggest fuck up? Or like, what was your first fuck up?
The first time, all right, so look. So I got a scholarship to Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey. And when I left for college, I said, okay, I'm not selling weed. I'm just going to do college and go from there, right? So, I'm going to school, I'm going to class, and I'm going to these business classes. And mind you, like, my mind had been devouring business for a number of years now, for like 3-4 years now, right? Like, I'm primed for this, And ask anybody who went to school with me, all business classes would be me raising my hand, posing a question to the teacher, and then me and the teacher having a back and forth dialogue, right? Like every time, bro, every class. Like that's what class was, right? And my business law teacher one day, she got pissed off at me for some reason. I don't know why. This like short redhead lady, and because we normally have like a dialogue,
Yeah.
And she was just mad at me, and she just pissed me off. And I pissed her off for some reason. I don't know what it was. I didn't do anything. I was just asking questions and talking. To her. I wasn't talking to anybody else.
Yeah.
And she said something smart, and I don't know, man. It just kind of triggered like, what am I doing here? Type thing. Like I'm not fucking learning. You know what I mean? I'm not learning shit. Like, and I know business. You know what I mean? If I was learning something, I would know if I was learning something. If this shit was vital. I'm learning like, BMIS, like how to do Excel sheets. She's talking about what to put on your resume. It's like the first year of college. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? I'm supposed to be learning economics right now. You know? Like, what are you talking about? Resume? Like, what are you talking about here?
Yeah.
What is this? So that day, all right, I had a roommate named Vernon, right? And we were cool. We were all cool. I had hella dope-ass roommates. Hella dope. All of them. We were hella cool. And I walk in, and I knew he was like selling weed and stuff like that. And I was smoking, and everybody was kind of smoking and drinking and doing all that stuff. It was college, and we were in the dorms. So I literally walk into his room. He's like counting money like right there, right? And I'm like, yo, how much for a zip? How much for an ounce?
Yeah.
You know, I got like 300.
Yeah.
He was like, bro, you want to just get down? You want to just put it on what we're doing? You know what I mean? I was like, all right, you know, let's do it, right? Bro, we were not your typical like dealers. You know what I'm saying? Like and I don't ever talk about this stuff. This is the first time anybody's hearing about any of this on camera.
Yeah.
Partially because of the statute of limitations on a lot of this stuff, but also because, you know, I have like an actual business that I run, and not everybody can understand, you know, the journey people make. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, ask Colin Womack, Tom Szymanski, and Albert Capitello, anybody who knows them, okay? Me and Vernon were making spreadsheets in Excel, like doing sales projections, bro. We were literally knowing how much everybody who we give a pack to makes in a year. You know what I mean? How much we need to get, how many packs we got to move to get up to a certain amount. You know what I mean? Like this is how we broke it down. Like we're not like your typical, you know, people hustling.
You guys were organized.
We were very organized. You know what I mean? Like we were. This is all we did. This is all we did all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All day, all night. Like this is all we thought about, right? So failed out of school. Long story short. And I got like crazy. There's so many stories that I could tell in that whole era. You know, it's crazy.
You were there for like for what, 2 years?
I was there for like a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah, and then after that, I kind of stopped selling weed, and I kind of just went on and off with it every now and then. Just kind of when I needed the money, I'd just go do it. I really didn't want to sell weed though. Like it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to like actually do business, you know what I mean? Like legit run a business and have a business and whatnot. But I needed to make money, and I didn't want to sell weed, so my aunt hooked me up with an elevator job in Manhattan. And I did that for 10-hour days every week, and I did that for maybe like 4 or 5 months. And then my other aunt had a boss that she worked for, and I told my mom that I want to get into real estate, or at least want to like explore what that is.
Yeah.
I knew really nothing about it, except for what I read on the internet, which, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went to, all right, so long story short, she gets me an interview with this guy, right? It's Friday, I'm there with like one of my best friends too. And we're both looking for something to do. I think it was summertime, in 2006 or something like that. I forgot. So we're there for the job interview. I didn't really know it was an interview until like an hour before when she said, I got you an interview, right? So I walk in, he's sitting there, the boss guy's sitting there, and he's already in a meeting, but he stops the meeting and he has us walk in and sit down. He had like a super long, like maybe twice the size of this table, conference table. And he's sitting on the other side of it, you know, we're doing the greetings, small talk, whatever. He's asking us questions like, why do you want to get into real estate, blah, 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 you know, da-da-da. So we answer all his questions. And then at the end of it, he says, okay, it was a Friday. He says, all right, look, tomorrow be here at 5 a.m., right? And, like, not even half a second went by. I was like, okay, see you here at 5. And he turns to his people he was meeting with before we got there.
Yeah.
He said, you see this? This is what I'm talking about. This is what you need right here. He said, don't come in at 5. Come in at 9. It was just a test. You know, he wanted to see if I was serious, you know, if I really wanted to do this. You know, Saturday morning, 5 a.m., he's going to come in or not, you know?
Yeah.
This is just like the main, like the one test.
Yeah.
So for the next year and some change, I'm basically this guy's like right hand, you know? Everywhere he goes, all the meetings he does, I'm there. And bro, 62 years old, failing health. He still eats all the shit he's not supposed to eat, okay? And all day long, he's hustling, like slanging mortgages, real estate, doing deals, massive deals too. I didn't find out until after I left the office that he was worth $2.4 billion.
Wow.
What he did, this is what he did, man. So in the 70s, sorry, let me give you a little bit of his backstory.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what he told me. He said, when I was 10, there was an old man who was pulling a cart full of stuff that was for sale. This is his story to me, right? He said the guy just must have been tired because he stopped right in front of us, and he told me, hey, if you give me $10, you can have this whole cart, right? So Clay, which is the name of my former boss, right, the guy I was working for, he looked in the cart. He's looking around. He's like, okay. And he starts going to town, and he's telling everybody that there's these items in this cart, right? And I'm selling it for $40, right? $50, sorry. And he said, and he found somebody who wanted to buy the stuff for $50. So he brought him to the cart, and the guy looked in the cart. He said, all right, yeah, $50. He gave Clay $50. Clay turned around and gave the old man 10. And he said from that moment on, bro, he was hooked, man. He was hooked. And so he just was buying and flipped his way to America. He's from Ecuador. So he flipped his way to America, got here with his wife. They had 3 kids, and then she died of like some health complications. And she was, I think he was making money being a janitor at the time here in America. But before she died, he got his real estate license. And he said he went crazy. He literally just walked up and down the street. Literally every single person he saw, a baby, a toddler, a child, a teen, a man, an old man, he just gave him the business card. He said, hey, I sell real estate, I sell real estate, I sell real estate. And he said that his first year, he made 47 grand. He made 95 his second year. And then he said this. He said, every year since then, for 17 years, I doubled my income. Every year since then, for 17 years, I doubled my income. And he said, I got the tax returns to prove it, right? Wow. And all right, so there's another dude that was kind of my age, Jeff, in the office with me. And me and him were like, we did the math like 1,000 times, right? Because the number that you get to when you double 95 17 times, it's crazy. It's a crazy number.
Yeah.
It's insane. You know what I mean? We couldn't believe it at all. And we were like, this dude really had this much money? And then, he told us a story of how he got sued every day for 10 years because there's this whole thing about, back in the day before they really instituted cameras and stuff like that. He didn't take pictures of the renovations that he would do. So the investors came back and asked him to prove what it looked like before he did the renovations because they felt like he was double dipping. So he got sued for 10 years. He has a whole story. There's a whole another story. But at the end of the day, so this old dude, right, 62 years old, failing health, he's hustling these deals all day long. And then at night, he sleeps for like an hour, right? And then that's when or an hour, hour and a half, something like that. That's when I would go home. But then he would wake up after that. Like when I'm about to go home, he wakes up and he starts getting on the phone doing commodities deals, where he's selling like, 300,000 tons of urea to China or, 400,000 tons of cement to wherever, what I mean? Any place. And I got to see all of that,
How old were you? You were like, what, 20, 21?
I was like 19. I was 19.
What were some of the biggest takeaways? Because, I mean, obviously, you're 19. You're surrounding yourself with people like him, right? I mean, obviously, he stands out above the rest of them.
For sure. He's worth $2.4 billion.
Yeah.
As far as we know right now.
Yeah, so $2.4 billion. What does... I feel like you were kind of going into this a little bit more, but what does a routine of a $2.4 billion dollar man look like?
Yo, it is an obsessive hunger. He's not doing this for the money. He's doing it because he really loves doing it. He's waking up after sleeping for 2 hours because he fucking loves getting on the horn and closing a deal. You know what I'm saying? It's not the money anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just really loves that. He could be doing anything else. He's got the bread. He could literally set up everything to run with people in the office just doing all the work. And he could go be on vacation. He could be in Dubai, chilling, buying stuff, islands and whatnot. But he wants to be in the office. He doesn't even want to be at home. He just wants to be at the office, just hustling. just doing deals. And to me, man, that is a remarkable takeaway. One is you got to do what you love. You have to do what you love. You know what I'm saying? And two, you got to be incredibly hungry, like unfathomably hungry. You know that story that E.T. says, when you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe? You know that story?
Yeah.
Fucking right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I got out of him. I was like, man, like, this dude is legit. You know?
Yeah. So,
and by the way, he wasn't a good person. let me get that straight right now. You know, like
what do you mean? What do you mean?
A lot of people think that, you know, these people who are millionaires and billionaires have like these remarkable morals, or treat them as if they do. You know what I mean? They don't. You know, a lot of the times these people are putting money above, you know, human life. You know, in many ways. I'm not just saying killing people, but I'm sure there's some billionaires and millionaires that, you know, they're doing that. The money's very big at that game.
Yeah.
You know, so they go to drastic lengths to make it. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, money does not mean morality, like not even in the slightest. So for me, if you have to choose between making money or going to work and your family, you should always choose your family, which I really try to do as much as possible. As little as my wife thinks I actually do that. I've seen the other side, you know what I mean? And it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, as like the out of bounds line, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't try to put that over my family, you know what I mean?
Because you've seen that. You've seen
I've seen
what money can do to people, and if you put money above everything else, then it can really get fucked up. Once you cross that line, it's very
like, you know, you don't even have to cross it. You just erase the line that was there. You just push the line out.
It back.
Like, oh yeah, this is all right, and you just keep doing that and doing that and doing that, which kind of, you know, leads me to the next phase of my life. After that, which I couldn't work there anymore because it was just unhealthy at that point, and I didn't want to be there anymore, and I was kind of done. And then I joined my mom in.
Did you find yourself? Sorry, before we get into the next stage, did you find yourself, I guess, being overcome by maybe negative aspects of that lifestyle?
Yeah, you know, I was like anybody would going into that situation. I'd be like, yo, this dude, my employer, is the man, right? So anything he says goes. If I want to be like this, I should follow everything he does, right? And so I was like...
Real quick, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Let's fix the mic real quick.
Is it kind of off?
I want to give a quick shout out before we continue. A big thank you to Black Tape Company for allowing us to use their space to host these episodes. Black Tape Company focuses on helping small to medium businesses leverage their social media platforms to create success. If you want to learn more, links to their Instagram and website will be linked in the show notes. So so going back to it.
All right. So you know, I'm like just like anybody would.
Yeah.
I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of this man, right? Who's really not a man you should be putting, you know, your steps into. You know what I mean? But you don't know that. You know, he's a salesman, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, anything he wants to do, and salesmen are like pimps. Like, they can't turn the game off. They're always pimping all the time. You know, they're always selling everything. Got to be a sale. You know, they never turn it off.
Yeah.
And it becomes very inappropriate. You know. And so I'm like watching this guy. I'm seeing how he's moving. I'm learning about what he does. I'm learning about stuff he did, you know? And I'm like, man, I just shouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it really is not a good thing to be here. And so I stopped that. And eventually, so a year before, my mom moved out to California. And I joined her a year later when I was done with all that stuff. We moved out there. Or she helped me move everything out here to Sacramento. And I'd been to L.A. a few times, been to Frisco, been to San Diego, never been to Sac. But I thought, oh man, it must be like all those other places, you know what I mean? But no, it's vastly different. Everything is so slow here. Everybody's moving so slow compared to the East Coast.
Yeah.
But there's a beauty in it that you know, I had to learn.
Yeah.
You know, but I was real frustrated when I first got here.
What were some of your ambitions or plans when you did come over here? Did you have something like, okay, I left this behind, but I took this with me, and then I kind of know what I want to do in this next chapter of my life?
You know, I didn't really know what it was going to be. I still knew that all right, so, you know, I was in the streets in Jersey, but I wasn't that heavy like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not really. And then I went heavy in the corporate side of things, right?
Yep.
And I saw that, okay, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. You know what I mean? So at that point, I was I was like confused to say the least. So I just started going back to school out here. I went to Sac City, and I made some friends out here who went to Sac State, and so I spent a lot of time at Sac State as well. And my friend that I met up with, his name's Julian. Me and him were like, it was like me and Vernon all over again.
Yeah.
Like cut from the same cloth type thing. And me and Julian were just, the first thing he did was take me to a multi-level marketing type jump off.
What was your reaction this time?
I was just looking at the sales acumen, because I had just left like a master sales dude. You know? So now, like, I have a ruler now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, it's a wrap.
And
Like, I'll bring people in. Yeah.
No, I wasn't trying to get into it. I was just like, I just went along because I'm fascinated, and there's something you could learn.
Yeah.
But these guys out here in California, swear, they got nothing on the guys that come through Jersey. Jersey Amway and Quickstar, not even close. Can't hold a candle to it. Whole nother level, bro. Like not even in the same galaxy, bro. I was disappointed. I expected to be sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I expected to walk out of there like, damn. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be pumped after this. You know? I'm not gonna join, but I'm gonna be pumped. You know? And nah, I didn't get that at all. So.
So do you actually go into that? I mean, obviously they don't motivate you. They don't really pump you up. They're not like the people on the East Coast. So, so what do you end up actually then kind of getting into more and more once you're over here?
So me and Julian, man, we both young guys. We're good-looking guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We hit the club literally all the time. Not every day, not yet anyway. But we hit the club like every weekend, right? And we smoked weed and we kicked it and we talked about business.
Yeah.
The next thing that we did was get into selling weed over in Sac State, dude. So this is like 2009, or 2008.
Yeah.
Like late 2008. When this starts. So we're at Sac State. We're just slanging. We started small. All right. So like the first time we got into it, really it was like, all right, you know what? Let's just really do this shit.
Yeah.
First time we got into doing it, we went from a quarter ounce to a pound in 10 days, which if anybody knows how much that is, that's quite an impressive feat.
Yeah, big jump.
It's a big jump in 10 days.
Yeah.
And we kept it going for a while, but like both of us, we did not really want to sell weed. Swear to God, like that's not something we really, really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we both were into business. Like we just knew that there was like a much, wider horizon out there. You know what I'm saying? So we stopped for a little bit, and then we got back into it because the street is always right there.
It's there.
It's always right there, and so we got back into it. And the second time we got into it, we went from half an ounce to a pound in like a week, like a little over a week. And what we did, and this was, I'm telling you, this right here for anybody out there slanging. I'm about to give you some game, all right? Pay attention. So, look, we had fire weed, top shelf, A+ grade, right? And we got it for, I don't know, like $3,200 a pound or something like that. Every day we broke the entire pound down into $5 gram bags.
Yeah.
Sorry, $10. So $5 half gram bags, $10 gram bags. So $1.1s, okay, of fire. And we delivered, no matter where you were in Sac, for a $5 bag, okay? Let me tell you, man. We started that when we hit a quarter pound.
Yeah.
And we sold that quarter pound in like 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. You know what I mean? Like crazy fast.
Yeah.
Right? So we just kept it going, and we would sell a pound every day. Sometimes 2, every single day. I'd leave the house for like, you know, a $5 run or $10 run or whatever, and I wouldn't come back for like 4 hours. And when I come back though, I got like $800 in my pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You guys were like ahead of the game, bro. Like, you know, because now it's like super common, right? And it's like legal and like this shit like that. But like now you guys are like just fucking doing that shit. You guys are leveling up. Is there a certain point where it's kind of like, okay, maybe we should probably fucking stop again?
Dude, we wanted to stop, right? Because then, you know, all right, look, man, we were really hustling. I would stand in front of 7-Eleven, okay, and anybody coming out with a Swisher or anything, I would ask them if they smoked, and if they did, I would show them what we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would get customers. And so when I wasn't out on a run and I was waiting for a call, that's what I would do. Any 7-Eleven anywhere. If it was a corner store, gas station, whatever, I'm pulling in and I'm literally doing that the whole time, right? So, you know, people started to hit us up for other stuff. You know, hey, do you guys got, you know what I mean? And we was just like, man, we should probably not do this anymore.
Yeah, that's like a whole.
That's like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And we both didn't really want to do it, but you know, we needed to make some money, and that was right there. It was easy. We knew everybody that smoked weed and stuff. Like, we were hella cool with a whole lot of people on campus. But so we eventually stopped, and people were so hurt, bro. People were like, yo, for months, people would be like, hey, man, you guys back online? You guys back doing it again? You know what I mean? Come on, bro. You got to come back. Why did you stop? For months, bro, for months. Look, man, there was this dude who put an ad on Craigslist as a real estate coach.
Yeah.
Yo, me and Julian, right? Two young black men were like, okay, look, we don't want to do this street shit anymore. We're done. We want to just do some real shit. You know what I mean? Like, we're done. And we got nice business clothes, shirt ties, all that, right?
Yeah.
We got ready. This is what we're gonna do. So we found, and when we were looking for like all kinds of opportunities, we found this real estate coach on Craigslist who wanted to like mentor some young cats, right, into doing real estate. And he was an investor. He said he sold, $100 million worth of real estate in his career. It's a big enough number for me and shit. So we met up with him, bro. I look back now and I'm so disappointed in this guy, right? Because, he could have really steered me and Julian in a whole nother direction, right? First meeting, we're coming to meet him about real estate, about selling real estate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first meeting, bro. The first meeting.
Oh, fuck.
This guy pulls out a canister of weed, right? And he's like, hey, you guys know this is legal now, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, we're trying to do real estate, man. He's like, yeah, man, this is legal now, right? And he starts breaking down all the laws and stuff. I was like, there's stores for weed? Get the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, man, this is where I got this from. And it's like the prescription with the whole thing.
Yeah.
You guys don't know? Yeah, all that. We were like, nah, man, we don't know nothing about that shit, right? We hit the streets with it, you know what I mean? Like, there was a store, what are you talking about? We're the fucking store, So, long story short, man, this guy gets us into selling, into growing weed, right? Not just selling weed, growing weed now, right? And, it was him, this guy who started the cannabis licenses in Sacramento, okay? These two guys, we met with them. That guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but anybody in the weed game, like in the legal weed game, like
knows.
In Sacramento, you know this guy. So, you've heard of this guy because you hate this guy, really. That's why. Because he snitched on all the dispensaries and told the city that you need to institute a cannabis license. Because all these dispensaries, like 48 dispensaries at the time, that were open legally, but did not have a permit for selling weed. Because Sacramento County didn't issue one. So they were under things like, holistic health, natural remedies, blah, 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 right? So Dan snitches on all of them to the city. He gets the first license, of course. This guy would get the first license. This guy, another master salesman. Master. This guy, Dan, incredible salesman. He used to be the financial advisor for Ray Kroc, who owned McDonald's, created McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
He used to be the financial advisor for him. I think he was there brokering the deal for the Padres when Ray Kroc bought them. A bunch of stuff. He got stories for days.
Yeah.
He's like deep in it for years, for hella long, right? Deep in the game. So anyway, where was I? Oh, okay. So, bro, he helped us understand the licensing, and the laws and whatnot. We went and got our legal papers from Robert Raich, who is one of the attorneys that helped write the law for weed in California, right? So we were doing everything by the book, and that was my job. Like we had a crew, and everybody had their duties and whatnot. Mine was knowing the law, and so we knew the law, and we were good, we were covered, but it was funny because like you don't realize how nebulous this whole legal weed thing is, right? The law is in place, but fucking nobody knows it. No cops, like nobody really knows. Everybody's like, what are you talking about, legal weed?
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here, you know what I mean? And so it's just like this really gray area where you got to do things by the book, but at the same time, you got to be like, act like you're doing it back in the streets again, And because the street thing was so normal for us, it was like nothing. Like, sell weed again? Like, all right, it's nothing.
Yeah.
But in that time, man, we had a house with like 400 plants, got a warehouse, blew out a huge house in Elk Grove, like 800 plants.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
We had partnerships with some of the biggest dispensaries in the state, And, it was all right. It was. I think at the time, when you're in it, you don't really see how cloudy things are getting. You know what I mean? How very confusing things are starting to get. And bro, literally every kind of thing you could get arrested for weed, bro, we got arrested for it. We got raided. So we used to also make treats.
Yeah.
Like cannabis treats.
Yeah.
We had a commercial kitchen. We did, and one of the places where we stored it got, you can't say it got caught because it's legal, right? But we got caught, and there was 3,000 treats in there, all labeled, all have the ingredients like how you would buy it in a real bakery or something like that. It made the news, like a ton of stuff, like almost everything you could possibly think of, getting pulled over, all that, right? So one day I get pulled over. I got 10 pounds of weed, and I'm coming back from Humboldt, and I really shouldn't have gotten pulled over, but I did anyway. And he searched the car against our consent, found the weed, and I was in jail for a day, right? Or I was in jail for a week, but that first day I was in jail, I was like literally thinking like, bro, I was talking to myself, right? Like, what the fuck are you doing here? You know what I mean? We had the dude that wrote the law, you know what I mean? Give us our paperwork, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're doing shit by the book, right? What are you doing here? And that's where I was like, okay, I got to be done. And this whole time, it was like I was in the best shape of my life. I had a personal trainer, worked with every day. But at the same time, I was an alcoholic, a highly, highly, highly functioning alcoholic. Drank every single day from sun up to sundown, before and after workout type thing. We went to the club every single day, 7 days a week. Every single day, went to the club. And,
Is that your phone?
I think so.
Do you want to pick it up?
No, it's all right. But yeah,
was that the turning point, being in jail? Like, you're like, what the fuck am I doing it? Like, wait.
Yeah, because it was like, this isn't real. Like, the law is not real. It's not a real law.
Yeah.
You telling me we could do this and all this can happen to us? Like,
Yeah.
we still get treated like it's illegal. You know what I mean? And I was like, done. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So it took me a long time to restructure my thinking and whatnot.
What would you say was like the first step that you took that you remember? Obviously, like they say the first step is the hardest one. What was that for you?
Admitting that this shit is bullshit. I don't need to do this shit anymore. I'm too smart for this game. Right?
Yeah.
And mind you, some of the guys that I know that stayed in it are doing very well now, and they were willing to go through that journey of America's, acceptance of legal weed and acknowledging it. You know what I mean? And being honest about it and accepting it. And they had a very difficult journey, and it's hard. A lot of people thought, or think that the weed game is just this massive moneymaker and whatnot, but it's it's not like making money in an office.
It has history, like it's been through so much shit.
It's life and liberty.
Yeah.
And people trying to rob you, and cops trying to rob you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like being in the street, but legally. You know what I mean? But you're in the street though.
Yeah.
You know? And if you didn't want to be in the street, you probably shouldn't be in that game, because it's all the things that can happen to you in the street can happen to you. Plus, the legal side of things, even though you're following the law. Right?
Yeah.
So it was this very gray area that a lot of people said, you know what? I know it's going to be gray, but I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to go through. I'm going to power through it until, it works out. And for some people it did.
So you admit, right? And it kind of allows you to, you kind of see where you stand.
Yeah, being honest about it.
Yeah, being honest about it and knowing, I guess, where you are. And it might not be the place where you want to be. Word. So what was that place that I guess now started to become a new direction for you?
So there was a OG who helped me out, and his friend actually was Petrie Bird, the bailiff on the Judge Judy show, right? I actually rented a room out of his house, and then his friend who got us in there was like working with me to like every day. So there was this like water project that I met Kitty through, right? But every day me and him would be kicking it, and he would challenge my thinking on every level, even if he was wrong. You know what I mean? But the mere fact that we're doing this exercise every day was integral to my development, because I had to challenge my own thinking, And so having this dude every day be in my face about what I think, you know what I mean, helped me to do the same to me and question my own thinking, which needed to happen in order for me to produce a different result. Your mind, your brain is a situation factory, right? Zig Ziglar says, you are what you did last week, last month, last year. You know what I mean? Like, you create this. Yeah. Which is 100%, not only do I believe it, I know that that's what happens, right? You create what reality you decide to entertain yourself with, right? And in order for me to produce a new reality for myself, I had to do away with my old thinking, right? So my old thinking would always want to do business to make money and end up going and selling weed. Yeah. That was my old thinking, right? It's like an old pattern I created for myself. And I had to realize that I didn't want to go backwards anymore, right? I just want to go forwards into new ventures. And at the same time, while I was still doing some weed stuff, I had met this dude who was a videographer. And I had hired him to do some commercials for our weed business, right? Our treats, right? Our cannabis treats. And he was good at what he did, but he could not accept the fact that the video you make is not your fucking video. It's somebody else's video. They're paying you to make it, man. You know what I mean? If they want changes, you got to make the changes, bro. You know what I mean? If they wanted to do it a different style, like, you have to do that. It's not your video. Yeah. And at the time, man, I got friends. A couple of them I haven't been in touch with in a long time, but we're still hella cool. But they were management at Livewire in the Bay Area, and they had some artists that were kind of on the B-list side of things. And they were promoting them, and these same guys managed some of the dopest artists in Sacramento at the time. And so, and me and one of the guys, we would kick it all the time. We'd smoke all the time. Hella cool, right? It's my dude. But he said he needed video, and he didn't have that big of a budget. And I said, yo, check this out. I got a videographer. You know what I mean? And we can do this video stuff. You know, make it a business. You know? That's my business hat on. You know what I mean? So me and the videographer, we lived together. I said, yo, look, I'll pay your rent. Like, you stay here rent free, move out of your mom's crib, and just do these videos. So I'm gonna give you work, and you're gonna stay rent free. You won't have no expenses. Right?
Yeah,
it's like match made in heaven, you know. But because he couldn't understand that it's not his videos, he pissed off a lot of these guys. And these aren't the type of guys that'll write you an angry email. You know what I mean? Like, this is not that kind of thing. You know, these guys, it's their money too that you're fucking with. It's not just yours. You know. So, long story short, that kind of fell through. But I had babysit this dude on enough shoots, and sat there while he edited. And I was like, man, I could do this, you know?
Describe because how you said it is a common thing. It is a common mindset to not realize that it is not your video. So describe, I guess, his mindset.
Got you. So what he's coming from... So he graduated from Sac State with a film degree, I believe. I think that's what his degree was. He had like a tattoo of a film reel on his arm or whatever, on his shoulder. So anyway, I think he's going to film school, and he's looking at it from an artistic background, right? Like, his message as an artist, which is what a lot of people in film, when you critique film and you analyze film, there's film theory, and you go to the methodology of why filmmakers do things certain ways, you get to the art of it, right? Which is what doing film is. It's art. And so that's like what that was his perspective on it, was that I'm making my art right now, right? Without realizing that what he's really doing is creating a video for a client, you know, that they're going to use to promote, right? So this isn't, it's art, and this is the same today, right? What we do is artistic. However, there's a technical proficiency that's required, right? That takes priority over your creative expression. And at the same time, you're here to fill an order. You know what I'm saying? You're making work to spec for your client who's paying you. And that's true today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think what artists don't necessarily understand, especially artists who do film and photography, is that, if you want to do artistic projects, do them by all means. Just don't do them on your client's dime. That's disrespectful. It's disingenuous. And it will make a very bad reputation for your business and you as a creative, as time goes on.
I'm going to fix the camera real quick because
I see it. Yeah, you fucked up. You fucked up. You fucking suck. And you're a terrible filmmaker. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Why am I on this podcast?
The bloopers. These are the bloopers.
This is a terrible idea.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the bloopers.
It's not the bloopers. This is a goddamn show. This is just fucking shit up. I'm from Jersey, so I cuss a lot. I've been like that since 4th grade.
I always tell people when I'm looking directly into the camera, if Teddy doesn't talk shit to you, he doesn't like you.
Most likely. I just may not know you.
Well, look,
but I definitely don't like you.
If he doesn't talk shit to you within like a month of knowing you, is it a month?
Yeah, I'd say so.
He doesn't like you.
Yeah. If I'm not motivating you to try to do better, like in your ear about the terrible job you're doing in life, I don't care about you. I'll let you keep going with your terribleness.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of that from who the OG that was, I guess,
I got a lot of it from the OG. The OG was a personification of, the voice, the critical voice in everybody's head, but he's external. I can't shut him up, right? And I learned a lot from him about even just how to be a man. You know what I mean? What men do, how men are. But I'd say the biggest part of my development came from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Man, I listened to it. I spent like a year right between careers, I should say, right, where all I did was devour information like nonstop, right, and that's what I knew how to do. That was like my go-to thing to do that wasn't hustling, right? Was go learn. I always love to learn some shit, like even random, weird,
Facts.
obscure facts and topics and all that. Like if I was interested in it, I'd learn it. And a friend of mine had reached out to me, and we kicked it on the daily. And he was in the Nation of Islam, and we would talk. And I love a good argument or debate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fucking love that shit. And I would debate this dude every day, bro, and I would always lose because like he was, coming from a position of actual truth, and he attributes that to him being in the Nation, learning the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I would attribute the same in my case, And so, learning how or realizing that you shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't, go around chasing skirts. You should grow up, especially at my age at the time. You should grow up, and I was like 24, 25, something like that. You should grow up, be a man, own a business, which he was speaking my language, Like prior to, like 14, 15-year-old Teddy, 15-year-old Teddy was trying to hustle business and didn't smoke, didn't drink every day, you know what I mean? Wasn't out doing wild stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was at home. He was just chilling, or he was kicking it with his friends. He was playing ball, making beats, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all this other stuff that I piled on to myself,
Yeah.
That contaminated who that person was. But at the same time, I had to kind of go through all that
to get to where you
to get to the realization about all that and about myself, that I came to. I realized how much courage that I had, and how much that can drive my ambition, And so now, like, going into a meeting to sell some video, like, yo, I ride around with 20 pounds in the car, you know what I mean? I'm doing, 100 on the highway, drinking and smoking, you know what I mean? Like, going to a meeting to meet with whoever, like, that's nothing.
Ain't shit.
Like, I'm not going to die from this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've dug bullets and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's nothing, you know? None of this other stuff could hold a candle to that, But yeah, man, like, so in 2014, I joined the Nation, and the rest is history. I'm just an everyday evolving person of, the person I want to be.
Yeah.
Or evolving towards that anyway.
What kind of questions were you asking yourself when the OG would challenge your thinking, or when you would lose those debates? What kind of questions were you asking yourself? Because you knew that when you found out the answer, that answer was going to help you become better and how you said evolve.
What you need to do is first, like, ask yourself, do you even know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to that topic? Like, I get this a lot with cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people have an opinion on it, but very few people actually know what the hell it is, Like, fucking nobody knows what it is, But everybody has something to say about it.
Yeah.
And, if you don't know what it is, oftentimes you just say some random bullshit. It's probably wrong. And somebody else is hearing that and maybe operating off that thinking, or what you said, that lie that you told. And so when I would be wrong, the first thing I'd have to do is say, do I even know what I'm talking about? Was I even in a position to open my mouth about that? Where did I get this info from? And if I'm honest with myself, I'd be like, I don't really know anything about it. I just kind of heard. You know what I mean? You just can't go off that kind of stuff. And so I would do that on every single thing I thought. And then I would get in front of a computer and go figure out what really happened. Was that true?
Yeah.
How do I know? Who knows it? How do they know it? And the methodology just kind of drives you to learn about a vast amount of things, even in just studying one topic.
You were saying during this time you were working on the water project, right?
Yeah.
So this allowed you, I guess, the finances to think like that, right? Because obviously, if it's very easy to get distracted, distractions comes from all around. But you had this water project that I guess financed gave you space. Yeah, exactly.
So like Petri Bird would support the project and offered space at the house at
Yeah.
times in order to keep it going. You know, that is integral to someone's development, right? Like, you know, it's hard to change a mind, right? For a lot of people, it's just like, all right, look, go get a minimum wage job somewhere, even if you're scrubbing toilets. Nothing wrong with scrubbing toilets, but even if you're scrubbing toilets, just go get a job and be cool, man. Just chill out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just relax. Don't be so quick to go get money.
Mm-hmm.
And then work on your thinking, you know? And so a lot of dudes that like come out to joint or something like that, you know, if they're serious about turning their life around, which most are, and if their back is not against too hard of a wall, which is another component to that, then, you know, they can go on that slower path, that slower, steady path to be able to, you know, create opportunities for themselves. You know what I mean? Or realize the opportunities that are available to them, which is, you know, that's important.
So you.
And so, all right, so to answer your question,
yeah.
yeah. So the water project and doing that gave me the space to slow down, right? To not have to worry so much about being homeless. But at the same time, I had made a decision. I said, you know what? I don't give a shit if I'm homeless. I don't give a shit if I'm homeless. If I got to live on the street, I'm not going back to slanging dope. I'm not doing it no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm done. I'm for real done this time. No matter who comes with what opportunity to do what, you know,
Yeah.
we're not doing it.
So in business or just profession wise, you know, you obviously are learning these new, just based off everything, right? Based off, you know, really asking yourself, if do I really know what I'm talking about? You're learning all kinds of things, but I guess more on a professional business mindset, where was your mind now kind of drifting towards?
You know, I had started doing video. So, all right, a very good friend of mine, man, my brother, man, my big bro, his name is Lou. He owns Timeless Studios here in Sacramento. He actually, so I got him to do some videos with, because he had artists. Sorry, we got to scratch that name out. I don't ever want to mention that name.
Gotcha.
I got Lou to do that video, a video with the videographer who I was living with, who was living with me, right?
Yeah.
And he had artists that needed the video done, needed their videos done.
Yeah.
And he owns a studio in Sac. He has a ton of artists, right? And so we tried it, but this guy is just, you know, this videographer was just a prick, and so, you know, I couldn't work with him anymore. Matter of fact, Lucio is the one who kicked him out of the house.
So he was living with you guys.
Lucio was living with us. Yeah, Lucio was working on the water project. Jimmy I was there too.
Oh, they were all working on the water project?
Yeah, they were all working on it.
So Kitty knows them.
Yeah,
Like,
you know,
like not knows them,
yeah,
but like, I
she
mean,
knows him. Yeah, she
they
knows
were
him.
they were around.
Yeah. So what's it called? So where was I? Oh,
Lucio
kicked him out, right? So Lucio kicked him out. We just, you know, stopped dealing with dude.
Yeah.
Lou didn't want to deal with dude anymore. And Lou was like, yo, look, I was like, I could do it. I could do the work. I just don't have a camera.
Yeah.
And Lou went to his boy, I can't believe I'm not remembering his name right now. I have to remember his name. All right, look. So Lou went to his homeboy who lent me his camera through Lou. Okay? And that was it, man. I had a camera now. I could start doing work, you know? So I did the work, and I got better, and I did more. I learned about selling video work through Lou, because Lou was doing all the sales, you know? And we sold some cool projects, some good ticket projects and stuff like that. And then I got my own camera, and then, you know, I just kept kind of leveling up from there.
What was your the hustle in you? How does that look like now on a videography aspect?
So I'm still hungry. I just know I shouldn't eat everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so now I'm just trying to get more leads and you know, bigger leads, bigger ticket items, but also some of the smaller ticket stuff. I'm trying to pass it down the line, right? Obviously to you and some of the other folks that I work with, but also because I've been doing this for a minute, and people like some of the work I do. People are coming to me with opportunities. Nowadays, video is much more prevalent, especially during COVID. Like Jesus, So during COVID, man, people need video. You can't do anything without it. And so business is going all right. It's going pretty good. It's not bad. But yeah, nowadays I'm just trying to level up. I'm trying to climb the ladder. With the business, trying to get bigger and better clients.
Why the name Caravan Film Crews?
So Caravan represents a company. It's the definition for it is a company on a journey, right? And we are a company of companies. Like Caravan, like obviously is me, but it's also you, and you have your own company. You know what I mean? And it's also Jesse Delgado, and he's got his own company, and it's also Jimmy and Lucio and everybody else I work with. Adam's got his own company, bigger than Caravan. You know what I mean? But everybody's a part of the crew. And so it depends on what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it. Any one of these folks could jump on and collab. And work on the gig. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, Adam hires me to do gigs all the time. We did one today for HBO.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
did
you like that?
Did you ever think that you would be? Well, I obviously when you have that hustle, you kind of just focus on doing and getting those jobs and leads and stuff. Did you know that it would look like this? Did you anticipate it would look like this?
Nah, man. My focus. So when I was younger, when I was doing the multi-level marketing thing, right? I told my uncle to his face. My uncle was like, it's not gonna work. Literally, that's what he told me. I don't know why these people are like that, man. These, 15, 16-year-old kid, he's ambitious. Everybody's just like, oh, that's bullshit. It's not gonna work. Let me just crush it all.
Yeah.
Oh, is that your balloon? Pop, It's a very dangerous thing to do to a kid like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really I'm not blaming them, but I'm just saying that if they could have recognized the good in it, right, then they could have taken that energy and steered it in something more productive, instead of just popping it and let it all disperse into who knows what, into what it did.
Yeah.
Right? So he pops my bubble, right, and I'm like, I look at him straight to his face. I'm like, I'm gonna buy Bentleys and Rolls Royces and and Lambos, and there's nobody in the whole world, there's nobody on this earth who will ever stop me from being able to do that. Yeah. But that was what I was thinking was success, right? Like going and getting that. When you're young, you kind of think immaturely like that. You measure that as the successful piece, But when I got older, and especially when I started listening to the minister, I reframed what my definition for success was. And my definition was I do what I love, I pay my bills, and I grow. And that was it. So literally that's all I focused on. You know what I'm saying? Period, point blank. I stayed out of jail and above ground, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I stopped getting into beef, I left all that stuff alone. I'm good, I'm straight. I'm a civilian now, and I'm just, going forward, in an onward and upward motion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was it.
What does that look like now? Now you are doing what you love. You're paying your bills.
For sure.
So now let's talk about growth. What is that? Where are your eyes set upon right now?
I want to get more jobs and bigger paying jobs, right? I'd love to be doing more $30,000 and $50,000 and $80,000 and $100,000 and several $100,000 deals. You know what I mean? Which we could do. We could do those.
Yeah.
But I also would rather fund all the moves, all the bigger moves, right? So for everybody who's listening who's into film and photography, you have jobs that pay very well, and they are, they're gig jobs, right? So somebody came to you, said, hey, I got a big bag. I need you to do a big project, right? Or a little project sometimes. And they splash you with the bag, and you do the project, and you're done, right? Now you got to go hunt for those bigger bags again. But because we do film and photography, right, if you cut out that middle guy and you go do the big project yourself and market it and exploit the value of it, right, Now you can get the bag that's big and pay yourself with it and cut
Gotcha.
out the middleman. Your bag's way bigger, and you get paid over a longer period of time, right? And so I want to, me personally, would like to see Caravan Film Crews do more of those kinds of things, and see Caravan Film Crews fund those projects to be able to get those larger, more, you know, the bags where not only do we get a bag, but we have paperwork that says ownership over the media. You know what I mean? Because that's where, you know, you can really step things up.
So instead of receiving the jobs through a middleman, or I guess maybe given, like not given, but like offered, right?
Yeah,
You
through
actually,
a client.
Yeah, through a client. You create those jobs that have big bags, and how you said ownership, and having that leverage of, if you are going to partner with well, I guess you wouldn't call it a client at that point. I think you'd call
It's a
it,
partner.
yeah,
You know,
a
it's
partner.
a company that partners with
You know, there is no leverage. You're not
Exactly.
you're not getting it handed down to you. It's literally, you know,
We're
next to you.
divvying up the numbers as they come in, not after the fact. You know, so anybody who is going to pay you 30 and 50 and 100 grand to do any job, they're making, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 grand off that. That's why they're paying you that.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I just want to skip over that client,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and just go do the $500,000 job myself, and then pay ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all get paid. You know.
For sure.
And dude, when you know, like when it rains, we all get wet. You know what I'm saying? At least when it rains on me, you know what I'm saying? We all gonna get wet. You know,
Yeah.
and I just love to do that. That's just square biz.
Yeah.
You know. So that's where I want to see Caravan going, and I'd like to see a lot more of those kinds of projects in Sacramento. And I think that with some of the endeavors that we're going to be embarking on, like we could do that. You know, we help people in Sac get to that.
No, yeah, for sure. And that's what I love about you, is that you're always offering, because like every time you meet a videographer, like a photographer, you're like, what are your rates? You know, like, how much do you charge? What kind of work do you do? You know, what's your Instagram? Because there's always a big thing that I realize is there's always abundance.
For sure.
Right? There's an abundance, and everybody can eat.
Yeah.
You know, so
all of us.
So like,
and eat good too.
Yeah. So like, I would rather approach it from that mindset than, I guess, oh, there's only this amount and you got to go for it, and like, which is still good. You got to have that hunger, but I think it's a different kind of hunger. And having that perspective of there's abundance, everybody's gonna eat. You know, it just comes down to you at the end of the day, and like your actions and all that. So, but yeah, I like that. And
I appreciate that, man. And you know, like for me, I already have been on the other side of somebody exploiting my ambition. You know what I mean? And I don't ever, and I see what happens when you do that to somebody.
Yeah.
I'm that guy, you know what I mean? And I would hate for somebody, you know, who maybe I could have just literally helped make rent that month, and that would have stopped them from going out and doing something drastic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because out of necessity, they just had to do it. I get it, you know? I understand, man. I'm not even knocking the decision that you had to make. All I want to do is be able to, you know, be a stop sign for you in front of, you know, whatever dangerous thing you might be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really, like, that's my even motivation to just do it, because I know that for a lot of people, it's just a little bit of money. You know, they don't need a whole, it's not like they want like 20 grand.
20 G's. Yeah.
You know, they just might want $300. You know?
Make rent or something.
Yeah, literally pay a light bill, you know, eat for a couple weeks, you know, and then they'll be cool. Like, they'll calm down, they'll relax. Happy makes you money, right?
Yeah.
That's what, who says that? I think it's Russell Simmons. He said, money doesn't make you happy, but happy makes you money.
Yeah.
You know, and it might just be a little bit of money that makes somebody happy for them to just get back on their own to do their own thing, you know?
For sure. No, yeah, man. Well, thank you for sitting down. I know you were like editing a little bit.
No, I was actually writing dates. Second episode, almost done with it.
You want to tell people a little bit about that?
Yeah, we could. So Dates is a series shot. It's supposed to be shot in Sacramento. And Lucio and I came up with the story. We came up with 4 whole seasons. And it is what do you think about the story?
what do I think about the story?
Yeah.
So you sent me the script
For the first episode.
for the first episode, and this is hella funny because he always does this shit. He's like, Teddy sends me the script in the morning. He's like, talk shit about it, and like
Every time. On
and-
everything I do. That's
yeah,
what I do.
no, which is great. Which I mean, it's a great way to approach it, right? Feedback, but I just find it funny, right? So I read it and I genuinely enjoy it. It's like I'm envisioning the show. It reminds me of like when I used to watch, and I'm not comparing Dates to Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon is it can't compare to fucking Dates. Dates is on a whole nother level. But it reminds me of just being intrigued. It gave me that feeling of intrigued. I'm actually enjoying the fucking episode. I'm not just like just watching on whatever's on TV because it's on TV. Like I'm actually interested in what's gonna happen next and what's happening. And he's like, and I tell him like I genuinely enjoy it. Like I'm not just saying it. I can't talk shit. There's nothing to talk shit about, at least from my end,
That's
right?
bullshit.
And
You could always talk shit. I could always talk shit about shit. You know what I mean?
and then I was like, don't ask me because I don't have any shit to fucking talk about it. I liked it, and you're like, I think you did say like that's bullshit. Talk shit about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no, don't ask me. Like, go ask someone else because I genuinely enjoy it, and I think that's why, ever since you read the what's it called? Not the script, but
The story.
the
overall story.
Yeah, the overall story. I was intrigued because remember, I think it was last year around August. I think something for Amazon. Was it like in the works or like in the talks of potentially happening, or like you guys were selling? Right?
Yeah. Atonement was in the works. With the person that we were leaning on, it was just not the person to lean
Yeah.
on. But yeah, it was me and Wes. We were told that, that Amazon was going to pick up this short film that we shot, which really surprised me because it's not really that great, but it was cool. It was a great project. Filmmaking is a sport, and making a theatrical film, like you need to get your reps in. You need to get your games in. And so that was one of those for us. But yeah, people, somebody at a network liked it, but they're not really there anymore.
I remember you asking me at the time. You're like, "Do you want to shoot films?" And I was like,
"You said no."
I said no.
You said no.
I said no because because to be fair, like I never really I didn't do it. Like I haven't done it, so I didn't really know what it entailed. For me, it seemed very like uptight, very formal. But like I think at the end of the day, it's what the end product or the end result that everybody involved, from PAs to DPs to directors, like everybody, right?
Yeah.
What everybody comes together and makes, like that's crazy. And once I figured out like, yo, this isn't some shit that you can just easily do.
Nah, not
like
at
this
all,
is
man.
like this is fucking planned.
Yeah.
Like you fucking like everything for it is already pre-planned. You shoot something a specific way, and I quickly realized that those, like, I guess film pieces like that has story, and if it has story, then it has some sort of effect on the viewer, and that makes it so much worth it.
Oh, dude.
Versus just making a cool video.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, okay, whatever. Like people think it's cool for a little bit, and then that's it.
The art of making theatrical film isn't made up of just cool shots. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what typically when we do video, like we're making a series of dope shots, right? But making theatrical film is like communicating a message that's buried in a story, for an audience to watch and maybe they get it, if you did your job right. It's the hardest to make. That's why, you got $1 billion budget, or $500 million budget, to make a movie, because they know that to make it is extremely difficult, and they also know that they can make a shit ton of money if you made it good, So they don't mind spending that money up front if they can quadruple it, or at least double it, or even make 1.5 times on their way back.
I just read a book, and I just finished it today. It's called Contagious. And it one of the and this is kind of more towards like marketing and why things stick, but it can be applied, and it is in the stories. I think it's like the 6th principle or chapter, whatever you want to call it, stories, right? And it gives the analogy of the Trojan horse, where you have the horse, which I would describe to as like being the movie,
For sure.
but you also have whatever is in the horse, and that's the message. And
That's
if you
right.
if you're able to do that, right, if you're able to create the movie that has that message,
For sure.
you can move people. You can teach people a lesson. You
Yeah,
can like
man.
it's
You can empathize.
yeah,
You
like
know?
the impact you have is legendary,
It is.
right? Because yeah,
You know what movie? You know what movie was like so dope at doing that?
Huh.
Zootopia. Have you seen it? No, you haven't seen it because you don't got kids. But
Yeah.
it's a kids movie, and it was about race.
Uh-huh.
It's like race, religion, identity, right?
Yeah.
And it's about societies, painting people in these broad strokes. You know what I mean? And I was watching that with my daughters, and bro, I was like, "Oh my god, this is a kids movie, and they're talking about this stuff." You
deep
know what I mean? It's
stuff,
some
yeah.
deep stuff. Because the Trojan Horse,
Uh-huh.
I thought it was just like, oh yeah, it's a kids movie, Zootopia, or whatever. I'm gonna sit through, let's see. I don't dislike kids movies because I'm a filmmaker, right? Like I
Yeah.
see the story and everything. I'm like, oh man, they designed that well, or they did that cool, or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm always analyzing every single movie and show I watch. But being able to talk to children about race, in that kind of way was so refreshing. You know what I mean? And if you were even a parent who maybe wasn't so racially aware or open, to other races and whatnot, and you were watching that, you could like literally maybe understand, like,
Yeah.
oh man, maybe I shouldn't think like that. You know what I mean? Only movies can do that.
Yeah.
Only movies and shows.
Yeah. No, it's funny because you kind of like get very technical and analyze it, but at the end of the day, like a great movie or a great piece of film is gonna make you feel something,
For sure.
regardless if you can tell. Yeah, they lit it up this way, like they shot it up this way. Oh, like I probably know, like I know how that was shot. But like at the end of the day, the story overtakes all of that,
Word.
and you just end up feeling whatever emotion they go for if they did their job right.
Yeah, and that's the key, right? If they did their job right, oh man, it's so difficult, man. Like making a theatrical piece, bro.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous.
That's why I want to get into like story writing, like
Yeah,
a
bro.
lot more, and just kind of
It all depends on the story.
trying
All
out
of it.
different techniques and writing. I think I never liked fucking writing or English or anything in high school or middle school, but like I think now how we talked about Devin in the previous podcast where he tied up his passion for music with photography,
For sure.
it can create like a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, man, dude. I liked English. Like I took English honors in high school, but I didn't know what it was for. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I thought it was for like writing essays just to get into college. You
Yeah,
know?
I feel
But I
that.
liked the story part of it. It was cool. But if they had just broke down like, okay, look, you guys can write scripts, you could do this, you could do that, da da da.
Yeah.
You can make stories for books and short stories and long form and da da da. If they was like, oh, you could do all this stuff, I'd have been way more into it.
Yeah,
Going to school.
for sure.
So yeah, I'm think they probably did you a disservice there, like they did everybody else.
yeah.
Whoever was teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I look back on, I was like, I genuinely could get into this, but the way that they taught it, it's
Word.
like, it didn't, like, bro, I don't
It
want to
didn't
do
engage.
that shit.
Yeah,
it didn't engage.
straight up.
Yeah.
It's the teacher's fault. Yeah,
It's all the teacher's fault.
it is.
No, but thanks again for
It's all
coming
good, man.
on
Thanks for having
and
me.
chopping it up
Appreciate
and sharing your story for the first time.
For the first time, nobody really
Yeah.
knows this kind of stuff
So,
except Ulysses.
You
I'm
know,
glad I was
hopefully
able to do it here.
those who are watching or those who are listening definitely take something away from it and can apply it to their life and use it as motivation or however they think it can help them.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Appreciate
Cool.
you, man. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We're gonna cut back out to the outro. Before we do, though, Teddy, is there anything that you want to share? Where can people find you? Is there anything that you want to tell the people?
Caravan Film Crews on everything. That's Caravan Film Crews. And if I come on the show again, I'll talk a lot more shit. Now that we got my bio out the way, I'll just talk a lot of shit next time.
You'll probably talk a lot of shit to me. I'll probably be asking him questions, and you'll just
Show.
respond with shit talking.
Yeah, I was ready with the shit talking, but then he started talking about my life, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna talk shit about myself. That's dumb.
You know, I thought this episode was going to be a little bit more difficult because, I mean, we just finished one and I found myself asking a lot of questions to Devin, but I found that just by asking you a few questions at the right time, you kind of just took it from there, which, you know, made it pretty easy.
Oh, I appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
for
Thanks.
sure. Cool.
Thanks for shutting the fuck up.
There it is. That's a little snippet of what you can
A
expect
little bit.
for part 2. Tiny bit, like a
tiny,
crumb,
itty bitty.
breadcrumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. We're going to cut to the outro. Peace.
Peace.
I really hope you enjoyed this 7th episode. Like I said, Teddy's a guy who keeps it super real and from which I have learned a lot from. I'd like to thank him again for coming onto the show and sharing his inspiring story up to this point. Be sure to go check out his socials in the show notes. I remember reading some article before I had started the show stating that most people who started a podcast, on average, only produce like 7 or less episodes before they quit. I'm excited that we finally hit the 7th episode mark and are well on our way to pass it. If you would like to connect with us, check out our IG. It will be linked down in the show notes. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review and let us know what you thought. Stay tuned for next Sunday for episode 8.